in the chat that we are heard. Works. Awesome. Great. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jan, and I'm the co-founder of AppLover, which is a software development company. One of our areas of expertise is HealthTech and MedTech, and we wanted to share some insights on how to develop a digital health tech product. We have Marcin with us, who's our business analyst, and he will be sharing some insights on how to do so. And I have just two announcements before we begin. The first one is that obviously feel free to ask questions. I will be reading them by the end of the webinar and just asking Marcin about the particular subjects that you will raise. And the second thing, for those that will stay with us until the end, we'll share some additional content on health tech and developing a health tech product that I will also share in the chat. So I hope you will enjoy it. So basically, without any further ado, Marcin, the floor is yours. So I think we can start.
Great. Thank you, Jan, and welcome everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here with you guys. So let's start with our topic. Just a quick introduction in terms of our webinar, what we'll talk about in general. So at the beginning, firstly, I would like to talk in general about health tech, what is health tech, and a little bit also about MedTech and how it overlaps, how those two terms are overlapping. Then I would like to talk a little bit more about stakeholders in the health tech industry and the most popular product that we can see on the current health tech market. And then we will go through the drivers that drive the innovation in this industry and some aspects that are crucial to the development of such products like UX design or the use of data and artificial intelligence. And then we'll focus about some challenges that we usually face during development of such products, and we'll dive deep into some of them. And lastly, I would like to talk about some trends and some examples that can be seen on the market and how are they innovative. All right, so let's start with the first thing. What is health tech in general? So as the name suggests, actually the term health tech is the most broad term out of all of the terms related to the healthcare industry. It actually encompasses all of the applications that are connected with medicines, with some kind of medical procedures that connects various stakeholders within the healthcare field, and also some kind of applications of daily use, like some health tracking apps or some other wearables. So like you say, it's a very broad term that relates to any activity, any action that can be related to the healthcare in general. And then, as a comparison, I would like to also mention MedTech, because these two terms, I guess, the most popular terms when you have in mind healthcare industry in general. So, and sometimes they're actually used interchangeably, which isn't quite correct sometimes. Mainly because MedTech is actually some kind of a subset of a broader term, which is HealthTech, where MedTech actually relates only to the software and devices that are used only within the medical aspects that are used by the doctor itself. That, for example, help to navigate some diseases or help to diagnose some some other problems. Yeah, so this is basically the main division. Of course, within HealthTech term, we can have much more. We can divide onto even more pieces, like some mobile tech or femtech that are also related to the HealthTech term in general. All right, so firstly, in terms of HealthTech, in terms of building HealthTech products, it's very important to understand and define the specific stakeholders that can be present within HealthTech industry, and may be actually present during the production of such products. So first of all, I would like to mention the providers, which are stakeholders that are, for example, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, in general, specialists that actually serve services that are related to the HealthTech industry. So basically, they are licensed to deliver the care to the patients, and because of that, they need some specific tools, like, for example, some practice management or EHR products. The next stakeholder in general in this field are the health systems. So the health system here can be understood as an organization or a group of organizations that's actually responsible for delivering the primary and secondary care to some certain specific target population. This can be seen as also as regulators of the industry, who are also responsible for preparing those regulations, some kind of limitations when it comes to the healthcare industry. The next, in terms of stakeholders, we have payers, where payers, there are these institutions that actually pay for those medical services that are provided by providers and doctors and etc. And this can be actually seen as, for example, insurance companies, where insurance companies can be most common type of a payer, for example, in United States. But other than that, we can divide this the best into three different categories, which are commercial, private, and government entities. And the next type of stakeholders are actually employers. This mainly because a lot of employers need to provide employees with some kind of healthcare insurance, and this is why they are the largest purchaser of health insurance, and this is why there's a lot of actions actually between employees, payers, and providers. This is why they are also one of the crucial stakeholders. And lastly, we have, of course, patients, and that are the end users of a healthcare industry in general, the healthcare products and services. Okay, so this is mainly the most stakeholders that we can see in this in the health-tech industry. Of course, there might be more. It can be very specific, especially in terms of product that we want to build. But these are these five main stakeholders, where at every healthcare product will have at least one of them. Okay, so now we'll talk about the health-tech products, product types that we already can see and are present on the health-tech markets. Some of them are quite recent, they emerged recently due to some kind of technological advances. And some of them are rather old concepts that were present for years, but are being developed as the technology advances. So the first type of HealthTech product is EHR, so electronic health records. And these are products that actually are used to store and keep the patient data, and also allow the access to those data for the providers, so for doctors and other healthcare users. These actually can be used quite interchangeably with patient management systems, practice management systems, which are also used to, of course, keep the data of patients, but can also be used to navigate some more clerical work within some specific practice, like, for example, booking some appointments, scheduling those appointments, and keeping the health track of patients. The next product type is the telemedicine software. It's actually quite recent product. However, it was already present for a few years, but we can see quite high boom on this product, mostly because of the COVID outbreak, where there was a high need of remote use of some medical consulting, and it wasn't available to do it with person. And yeah, this actually started the moment where it started the boom. So it actually concerns all the products that allow some remote visiting with doctors. Another product types are remote patient monitoring, which actually relates to the products on devices that gather the data about the patients, for example, about some patients after some surgeries or some other medical operations, and can inform other medical providers that, for example, something is wrong, something is happening, what shouldn't happen. So actually, it alerts providers about the health state of patients. The next product types can be e-prescription software. So of course, when you go to the doctor, we can have some prescriptions, and this software allows doctors to write those prescriptions online, also to keep those prescriptions online, and allows patients to use those in any pharmacy. So it's much more easy than with a piece of paper. And then we have, of course, medical diagnosis software which goal is to facilitate the work of medical diagnosis for doctor, especially when it comes to some rare diseases. Another point is appointment booking software, which actually also can be part, like I mentioned, of practice management, but mainly allows the users, so patients, to book some appointments with some specific specialists. And next, we have also health tracking apps, which has also boomed recently, which are also highly connected with some IoT devices like smartwatches that are able to gather the data about our state of our health based on the data from our bodies, and are able to inform about some wrong some problems or in general our health state. And also it also relates to some apps that allows us to track, for example, our weight or track our diet, and it's really wide there. And lastly, we have medical billing software that facilitates the medical actions, for example, between the employers, the paying stakeholders, and providers. So this is the list of few of the HealthTech product types, which are actually most popular. But there's much more in terms of those products that are related to the HealthTech, but those are definitely the most widely used and most popular. Okay, so after we talked about what HealthTech actually is and what are the possible products that are within this industry, we need to dive a little bit deeper and think about what actually drives the innovation in those products. So the first thing that comes to mind, especially recently, is telehealth in general. So like I mentioned, because of the recent COVID outbreak, there was quite a huge need for such solutions. But even though that situation is becoming a little bit more clear and getting back to normal, we still see that the needs for the telehealth products didn't drop. It actually created some new market niche. So definitely the need for these products is driving the innovation in this industry. Additionally, same as remote monitoring and in general wearables, so devices that allow us to gather data about our health on a daily basis, which in general help us to actually get some more insights about our health and to track all the situation that's happening in our body and to take actions upon those information. The next thing that drives this innovation is definitely artificial intelligence, mainly because, of course, the healthcare industry as itself is very abundant with the data. We have multiple data, also multiple sensitive data, and of course, because of the advancements in this field, we can do this in our favor. And of course, when the more data we have, the more accurate solutions for artificial intelligence we can find. The next thing that drives the innovation is the concept of wellness. So there's a lot of understanding recently that there is it's not viable to focus on the treatment of diseases that already occur, but it is also crucial to try to avoid those diseases, those problems. And this is being quite highly understandable by the employees, and this is why we actually have a lot of investments in this field of wellness to actually to focus more on the keeping the people and the employees to feel well in general. And another point is supply chain in general, which also was affected a bit during the COVID pandemic, where we could see that because of the disruption of some supply chains, it caused also huge disruptions in some medical aspects, and this is why this disclosed some downturns that are present in current systems. So this is also a quite huge field for improvement. And lastly, we have some regulatory innovation acceleration. So the regulators actually started to notice that there's a lot of technological advancements that later allow to some improvements in our current medical systems, but sometimes they can be made because of those limitations related to such regulations. But fortunately, it slowly starts to change. So it also opens a few more possibilities. Okay, so right now let's talk about actual problems and some things that we need to consider where you're actually creating these HealthTech products. So firstly, in terms of UX, which is of course very important when we try to develop application of any kind, we need to have in mind some considerations that are highly related to the HealthTech industry. So first of all, when we're designing the products, we need to have in mind to which audience we are producing those applications. So who will be our end users, and then we need to try to adapt our concepts, our designs to these users. So, for example, our users can be some senior or elderly users with some kind of disabilities that's the concept that they state. Or, for example, we can have users with some visual or auditory or other cognitive challenges, which we also need to keep in mind. And then, in general, in terms of workflows, we sometimes need to have some specific restrictions that are maybe somehow sometimes related to the pandemic when we talk about recent situations. And then, of course, we need to consider that HealthTech products, like I said, are bonded with data, and the data that are stored with those products are deeply personal and it's very sensitive. So it is very crucial that we wouldn't allow to any leakage of data, also in terms of a front-end design. So in here, in terms of this point, some kind of actions that are already used in fintech applications can be applied also here. So these are a few considerations that we need to have in mind when starting to designing the products. But there are already some solutions that can be implemented. So, for example, we can we would need to implement the text size options for our applications, where especially some elderly users, also users with some visual disabilities, can change those texts so it will be available for actually anyone. The next solution is some consideration of color variations that can be easily, so the application would be easily used by, for example, some colorblind persons. Next, we can have the use of text-to-speech and video options. So try not to keep all this data within the app only applicable with available through the text, but also this text-to-speech. And of course, as we want to, sometimes we need to assume that our applications will not only be used by the users that are tech savvy and use some applications on a daily basis. We need to focus for our app to have simple navigations, and so it will be very simple to use. And then, of course, the same goes to the clarity of language in general and clarity of icons that we use within our applications. So this was main points that we need to consider in terms of UX design when we're designing those products. But then let's talk also about the data in general and the use of artificial intelligence, which is actually becoming quite a high trend currently, and is really widely used almost in any healthcare devices. So let's talk firstly briefly about what kind of use cases can we see in terms of use of AI within healthcare products. So first of all, through the AI, we can list some clerical work, right? So especially it comes to relates to some practice management systems where we can have some different workflows, and some of these workflows can be easily automated with the use of AI, and then let's say the work that needed to be done manually by the users. The next aspect of the AI within healthcare industry is keeping well. So it's basically relates to some kind of recommendation systems that are based on gathering data about our health state and body state, can further recommend some actions, rather to do actions or stop actions. The example here is a concept of a smart belt, which can help us to actually gather data and inform users that they are overeating and they need to limit about it themselves so that they will keep well in general. The next example of use is an early detection of some kind of diseases or some kind of problems that can happen within our health. So it also it relates to the use of some kind of wearables that also gather data about let's say some health, some cardiac issues, and those kind of data can be, for example, transformed and analyzed, and based on that, the AI can specify that there are some kind of problems and we need to see a doctor, for example. Next, it also can be used within the diagnosis actions. So like I said, when you have some diseases, especially when you have some kind of rare diseases that are very uncommon and are easily missed by some specialists, and actually can be detected by AI. So it's in general it will accelerate the time of the diagnosis and also improve the accuracy of each diagnosis. And then we also have some actions related to decision making and also the treatment that relates to some actions that the doctor need to decide on whether to put some patients on some more to do some more research on the health or to start the treatment. And the AI also can actually prepare some personalized treatments based on any specific patient, based on, for example, the previous health record, and so on and so forth. And then also it can be used in research, so finding some new solutions to some problems, especially in laboratory systems, and also with the training where we want to simulate some activities and give those problems to solve by some specialists that are just learning. So as you can see, the use of AI in health tech is really quite wide, and there's only some concepts that are already being used, and as the use of AI is only quite recent. I believe there's much more that can come in this field. Okay, so this was some few points that are needed to be taken upon considerations when we are starting to develop our applications to actually give some ideas of how to approach this problem. But then on the other side, we have also some challenges that are related to development of such products. So the first challenge is actually quite a common challenge in terms of development of any digital product. So understanding of the stakeholders. So this is why at the beginning I tried to list all those stakeholders, because it is very crucial when we're trying to develop such products, to list all of the stakeholders that can be related to our product that we're trying to develop, and understand what are the actions and motivations that stands behind those stakeholders. And also in terms of the second point, we need to keep in mind that we need to also meet our consumers' expectations. So of course we can have some kind of design and idea in our head, but it's very crucial to actually test those assumptions and speak with our stakeholders, and consumers, so we actually can create a viable product. And then the next challenge in terms of HealthTech is the security of medical records. Like I said, there's plenty of data that are related to HealthTech products, and the data is very sensitive, and this is why we need to put a lot of focus and a lot of effort on developing viable solutions that allow us to ensure that those data are kept safely. And then, of course, in terms of data and this is security, it's not only done because it needs to be done, but it's also very highly regulated. So we need to abide to those regulations, especially if you don't have any problems with, for example, some regulators, and if we want to keep our app on the market, we need to do a huge research on those regulations to generally abide to them. And the next challenge is interference with other systems. So like I said, there's few systems that are developed recently, and there are others that are present on the market for a longer time. And sometimes both of these systems need to be integrated, and it's also not an easy task to integrate it with some other legacy systems. And then the last challenge is the need of innovation. So of course, if we want to have our our products to be competitive, we need to actually use as much of the technological advances as we can. So meaning that the user expects our product when they are put in the market to be at the highest state of innovation. So this is why we need to keep in mind when designing those products. So in terms of those challenges, I would like to dive a little bit more into few challenges, and one of these is actually the external integrations. So like I said, there's like as you see on the previous slides, there are multiple types of healthcare software systems. There are multiple types, and each type has multiple products. So yeah, there's really abundance of these solutions, and usually it happens that those products are actually working together, mainly because the data is shared between multiple sources. The goal of sharing this data is basically because each of these systems gathers its own data, and with more data, we can make more informed decisions, and also derive some more informed results. So this is why this is the goal of this high integrations within various systems within healthcare industry. And the question is why this is so challenging. So the first challenge when it comes to the system integration is that there's omnipresent legacy systems, right? So like I already mentioned, there are a lot of systems that are quite old. They are not very new, but are used by various stakeholders. And when we're developing a new system, we sometimes just need to have the integration with some of that legacy systems. And when it comes to newer products, the integration between two systems can be actually a bit easier. When it comes to those older systems, it might be quite a mundane job to do so. So it also relates to the next point, which is system compatibility, where sometimes those systems can be actually integrated, and some actions need to be done upon with other systems to create the possibility of such integration. Then we can those kind of integrations with some third-party providers can also create some changes in terms of workflows that we already designed at the very beginning of the creation of our products. And this is why it is very crucial to plan those integrations at the very beginning, at the design steps. So we would know that what needed to be done, what can be done, and how it should be implemented within our system. And the last challenge is, of course, the cost management and time management that is related to those informations. Because, like I said, there's usually a lot of things at the beginning that we don't know, that we need to make some assumptions that are related to those integrations. And it's just sometimes those assumptions can be wrong, and the time and costs of the integrations can be highly increased. So this is why we this is a very crucial point, and need to be kept in mind when planning the development. Okay, so the next challenge that I would like to discuss a little bit further is other regulations in this field, which are actually quite abundant, because like you said, the patient data, the medical data records are very sensitive data, very personal, and thus they are quite highly regulated. And what is more, each country can have its own distinctive regulations, which might be very problematic, especially when we want to produce some applications that we're planning to put on various markets, in several countries. And each country has its own regulations. We need to abide to all of them. So there's a lot of research that need to be done, a lot of planning and designing in terms of abiding to those regulations. So also that's the thing that needs to be kept in mind at the very beginning of very early stage of the development of such products. Some of the examples that can be seen as regulations is for HIPAA. That's widely used in USA. So any products that are put on the US market need to abide to these regulations. And for example, in UA, we have GDPR, which also the products need to abide to those regulators. What is more, in UA, you can also have not only GDPR but some specific country-specific regulations that can also be different to those stated in the GDPR. Okay, so that is all when it comes to the general development of the products. So some things that need to be kept in mind, some challenges, and that usually happens during the development of such products. And now I would like to share with you some examples that are present currently on the market that are related to the recent trends and innovations. So firstly, these are a few topics that I listed that also drive the innovation in terms of HealthTech products. So you can see here, of course, use of artificial intelligence. You can also see the use within the telemedicine field. We can also have find the use of immersive technologies. So, for example, virtual reality or augmented reality. Then we can also recently see the development within the mobile health. So the applications that are mainly created to the use of mobile users, and also we can see here a few uses of blockchain technology and cloud computing. So when it comes to AI, for example, there's a startup called Carry AI that actually develops the software, which goal is which actually is the patient monitoring platform. So, for example, when we have some patients that are after some surgeries or need to actually kept in bed and rest, this AI through the image processing can actually detect some kind of medical risk, like, for example, verifying whether the doctors or nurses are sanitized when they're approaching the patient, or whether the patients, for example, trying there's a risk that patients will drop down from the bed, for example. So it's kind of an alert monitoring platform for the patients. And the next is Alliance, which is a startup that's a diagnosis of some cardiac risk and some cardiac diseases that also uses the image processing and AI. And as a comparison, it allows to diagnose some cardiac problems, which in current state of the art the process lasted 30 minutes, and it's shortcutted it to actually 5 minutes. And the next example now when it comes to telemedicine is Eva, which is a tele-ICU platform. So it's related to ICU. So the problems that they require a much more specific care in terms of patients. And what it to do actually, it aggregates all the necessary data about all the patients in one dashboard, and alerts the providers, so alerts the doctors, nurses about some health issues that can occur in those type of patients. And then we can also we have Vivo Health, which is in general telehealth care platforms, which is also for insurance and healthcare. So basically, the users can easily connect with the doctors through this platform, and can have its also can have drugs prescriptions, and also can connect with their insurance providers through this platform, and all done, of course, remotely. In terms of these two technologies, when you have immersive technology, we have a company called Versano, which developed the brain-computer interface that's related to the use of also virtual reality, which goal is to actually alleviate some kind of pain related to surgeries, and lastly also accelerate the time needed to the recovery for the patients. And then you have also Rescape innovation, which is virtual reality distraction therapy. So it's actually tries to alleviate problems of some anxiety and distress that can be connected with some specific treatments through the use of virtual reality. Then when it comes to mobile health, we have the platform for M4Life, which is a platform for smooth patient-caregiver relationship, which is fully done on the mobile platforms. And also similarly, we have Knots, which is a platform for e-consultations that is also fully done for mobile devices. And then lastly, when it comes to the blockchain, we have a company called Block Pharma, which relates to the drug traceability and anti-counterfeiting of those drugs. So for example, the user can make a photo of certain drug, and based on the database, the drug will be either validated or will be tagged as invalidated or some drug at risk. And also you have Iriomoshi, which is also in general a practice management system, but uses a blockchain as its database to store securely the patient's data. And of course, when it comes to the use of cloud computing, you can have Radon AI, which goal is actually to connect patients with some radiologist experts on demand, so they can consult some results with various radiologists, with some experts worldwide. And also in this topic, we have MediFit, which actually relates to the mental health monitoring. So it's actually also the mobile app where for the people with some mental health problems that also showed some kind of tests and diagnoses, and then transfers the information about mental health stakes to the doctors. Okay, I think this is all that I wanted to talk about in this presentation. So now this is the time for your questions. I know if we have.
Thank you. I'll obviously, because I think not ask the first question. Before we start with the questions, as promised, the content that was promised to the participants that will last till the end. So here is a link where you can read about building an MVP, the challenges that are concerning building an MVP in health tech, and how to overcome them. So feel free to check this out. And back to the questions. So the first one was asked by Nat. So I'll just read it out. Okay, Marcin.
Yeah.
How viable is the use of AI in the initial product development? Doesn't it require large resources?
Yeah. So of course depends on the product. So of course whether it's type of product that's it's planned to use the AI as a core component, or whether AI is only some additional component to our product. So of course, as with other digital products, we need to. It's very viable to use the MVP methodology. So it starts with the and the minimal viable product. So with only the most important features. And if one of these important features is AI, then of course it needs to be used in the initial stage. And also when it comes to the resources related to the AI, it also is very dependent on how complicated the data you should be. Actually, like I said, the technological advancement in terms of AI is very it can be visible almost anywhere, and some of the applications are actually quite easy to develop when it comes to use of AI. Others, those more sophisticated, of course, can be quite hard to develop and quite costly. So yeah, it also depends on the product itself and the level of complicated and how complicated it can be.
All right.
Yeah, I hope that's answered your questions.
Thanks, Anna, for the question. The second one is from Martina. Which probably it refers to the challenges that you mentioned. Which challenges do you consider the most crucial?
Yeah, so I think the most crucial ones was the ones that I mentioned. So the data integration party, which is very common when it comes to HealthTech products, and of course the challenge of regulations, mainly because, like I said, there's plenty of such regulations, and it's really quite abundant work to gather information about those regulations, to verify whether we abide those regulations, and these are the problems that actually happens in any of our products that's developed within this field. So of course, all of these challenges are quite crucial, but I think these are ones that are very challenging and very specific to this industry.
All right, thanks. So let's ask the chat maybe. Do you have any more questions to Marcin? Let's give him a few seconds. If not, okay, I see there's one about the high demand of and trend related to IoT in health tech. So basically, Martina writes, but the challenge is more focused on the software development or hardware development. What do you think?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, because of course we need software, and there's some sophisticated things that we can do with the data that we gather, and yeah, we can do a lot, and we still don't know. We didn't explore all the things that can be used with with the advancement that comes with the development of the hardware. So definitely there's a huge space for improvement, and huge space for new innovations in this field. But it's highly related to the possibilities of actually hardware devices. So the more sophisticated the hardware devices we have, the more data and the more accurate data we can actually collect from those devices. The better software and better use of software we can prepare. So it's I would say it's a little bit of both.
Okay. Thanks for that. Are there any more questions? Because I see someone writing. Okay. Thanks, Martina, for asking. All right. So we were supposed to keep this webinar running for an hour, so we don't want to keep you longer than that. So we'll probably be heading towards an end. Marcin, first of all, thank you very much for hosting. For the presentation as well. In the meantime, if you are interested in health tech apps, feel free to visit applover.com. And if you have any more questions to Marcin, for example, here you can see his email. So feel free to reach out directly. Thank you everyone, and have a great day in the meantime. See you soon on our webinar series.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.